All right, we're 1 week out from the second major of the year, and as of right now, Tiger Woods on the list, in the field, but Jason Sobel of the Action Network, so is Phil Mickelson, my friend. I mean, is he going to play this thing, Phil? I think we all know, like, Tiger's going to do it. He's been doing the practice rounds. We've kind of expected this, like, at this point. But, like, what about Phil, man?
Yeah, for the last 2 or 3 months, I've been on the side of maybe not. I'm 50-50. I have no idea what the future holds for Phil whatsoever. Now that his name is on that list, I will say that it's probably 51-49. I'd say he's leaning towards playing, and I will tell you this much, a couple of things. First of all, he has been in contact with officials from the PGA of America, the organization that runs the PGA Championship. This is not going to be a gotcha thing. He's not going to swoop down from a helicopter on the ninth fairway and say, okay, I'm here, guys. What are we going to do? They're going to be in contact. They're going to be in communication, and they will be aware. Even if the rest of us are a little surprised either way, they will be aware of whether Phil is playing or not. And the other part of this is, if Phil is indeed playing, I expect there to be a press conference either Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. They want to get ahead of everything, let him speak to the media, and then my guess is Phil will say, I've done everything that I'm going to do. If you want to ask me about my round after Thursday's opener, that's fine. But I've spoken about what the future holds, what the past was about, and I'm moving on from that. And I expect that to be the case if and when he does show up at Southern Hills next week.
All right, who's the better bet? Tiger plus 4,000 at the PGA, or Phil Mickelson plus 8,000?
Tiger, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Phil can win it again. Who knows? I have absolutely no idea where Phil's game could be or would be right now. Certainly, there are a lot of distractions going on. Maybe he does it again. I'm not betting either one of them.
All right, well, let's get into this week's AT&T Byron Nelson, TPC Craig Ranch there in Texas. Familiar face back in the field, world number one, Scotty Scheffler. Like, he's the favorite, Jason, at plus 700. And we've seen the past few weeks. I was listening to you yesterday on Sirius XM Radio that the favorites have performed well the last few weeks. Rahm, Mexico Open, Rory McIlroy, top 5 at the Wells Fargo. Hey, even money for Scotty to finish top 10. Do you feel like that's as close to a lock as you're going to get?
Yeah, Emerson, this is going to be really bad for business. I probably shouldn't say the following thing I'm about to say, but we produce all this content on a regular basis. We analyze, we overanalyze, we think about things, we overthink about things. Every week we say, hey, put a little investment in this guy for some outrights and a little investment here, do some things here, do this. If you want to just take your entire bankroll and go, that Scotty Scheffler guy, he's pretty good. He's the best in the world. He plays well every week. He's on a heater. Why don't you just take this whole bankroll and throw it on Scotty for a top 10? I'm not sure I would talk you out of that. It's not that bad of a plan for this week. So, yeah, I do like that. The reports are he went out to Southern Hills a couple days ago, a little prep work for the PGA Championship next week. Oh, by the way, a place he says is his favorite golf course in the world, just in case you're wondering if Scotty Scheffler might have some good vibes going into next week. And he shot a 63. So the guy's still playing well. Even though he's taking a few weeks off, he's still playing some really solid golf. So, yeah. Top 10, Scotty Scheffler, even money, book it.
And, like, you also have some other big names. What is it, 7 of the top 13 in the world, like, are teeing it up this week? So you also got to ask yourself, like, what's the motivation of some of these dudes? You got other names like Justin Thomas, Willie Z, Dustin Johnson, Xander, all plus 1,800 or better. So who do you like from that group of golfers?
For the most part, I'm staying away from the top end of the field. I really like Zalatoris this week, but man, your traders are on it this week at DraftKings and the Sportsbook. Zalatoris is just too short for me to bet at plus 1,400. The one guy that really interests me, and again, a lot of these players are maybe not quite foot all the way pressed down on the gas pedal this week, thinking a little bit about the major going on next week instead. And so I look at Dustin Johnson, who probably could use a win. It's been a while since the 38-year-old DJ won a golf tournament. Recently married, maybe a little narrative street there as well. But DJ seems like the type who isn't overthinking what the major next week means. He just goes out there, hits it a long way, makes lots of birdies. That's exactly what means the most at TPC Craig Ranch. And I can see DJ very easily winning this golf tournament. In
that mid-tier range, though, I feel like when you have Brooks Koepka around this range, it just pulls everybody in. It grabs your attention, plus 3,500. And then you've also got Hideki in that group as well. So that mid-tier range, Jason, who do you have your eye on?
Yeah, Hideki is still a fade for me. Remember, prior to the Masters, Hideki withdrew from the Players' Championship, withdrew after one round from the Valero Texas Open, a neck and a back issue. He did make it through the Masters, and he played well, finished in 14th place that week, but we haven't seen him since. I mean, it's been, 5 or 6 weeks since the Masters, and so that's a long time to go without really seeing Hideki at all. So he's a fade for me until he kind of shows it for us. And I'll be very interested to see how he plays this week and whether he's fully 100% healthy. If I'm taking a guy in that range, I can see Joaquin Niemann at 35-1. I think he's a nice play. And then I might dip down to Taylor Gooch, who's got a decent number at plus 4,500, 45-1 this week.
Okay, yeah, because with Brooks, he's just been like all or nothing this season, but he has had a good majority of finishes, more than his peers, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I can see Brooks. Brooks always has that win equity, and we all know about Brooks during majors.
Yeah,
ratchets it up a few notches, and he's going to play better than he does during non-majors. But no, he's played well with Byron Nelson in the past, so I can certainly see it this week.
All right, so like the past couple of weeks, we've talked a lot about like long shots to target. What about this one with a field that obviously has a lot more talent in it?
Yeah, I've got a little Eugenio Lopez Shakara PTSD from last week. I gave you that as my massive long shot. That didn't quite work.
I don't even know like if his odds were even put on the DK Sportsbook at one point. Everyone's like, is this a real person?
He's real and not spectacular, not yet. But he wound up missing the cut last week. Tough conditions. I'm going to give you a really long shot once again, and then I'm going to give you some guys who aren't quite as long. Brandon Hagee is a really good player. He hasn't shown it this year. In fact, the numbers are terrible. The analytics are terrible. But again, another guy that mashes the ball and can make birdies when he's on his game. Granted, I know it hasn't happened in a while, but that's why he's 800-1 in the DK Sportsbook. That's a massive number. I think at some point in the next year or two, Brandon Hagee wins maybe a smaller PGA Tour event. Look, do I love it? No. Do you throw a couple of bucks on it at 800-1? Why not? As for some other long shots who aren't quite as long as he is, Aaron Wise, the guy that I'm essentially pot committed to at this point until that number gets shorter, until he starts proving otherwise. I'm going to keep playing Aaron Wise. Jonathan Vegas is a really interesting play this week. 4 straight finishes of 27th or better. He was tied for 9th place at this one last year. And then I'll give you, one more on my list here. Wyndham Clark. Anytime it looks like it's a driver putter course, drive it really well, make a whole lot of birdie putts. Those are the 2 best clubs in his bag.
All right, Jay, we'll get you out of here with this. Who is your pick to win the AT&T Byron Nelson?
It was a little embarrassing. I came out with my preview early this week, Monday morning, and I said, I'm looking for somebody in that 55 to 80-1 range. I thought that was a nice sweet spot. And I initially had Eric Van Rooyen there. Only problem is that Eric Van Rooyen decided to withdraw after I wrote my preview. Yeah. So I had to, quick delete, get back on there. But Sebastian Munoz was another guy that just sort of represented that sweet spot. He's plus 7,500 this week. I think it's a really nice number for a guy who hasn't quite shown the ceiling, but he's shown a high floor recently, between 21st and 39th place in each of his last 7 starts. If he can make a few more of those birdies, climb that leaderboard a little bit more, I think it's a really nice number. But again, good numbers on a whole lot of guys between 55 and 80-1 this week.